Welcome back to the Self-Care Summit, where we are learning how to cope in the midst of this global crisis. Today is day number 14. My name is Melanie Wood. My business is Soul Ease Massage and Mind Body Therapy. And today's just a little bit different. We've been having some non-essential workers that have been giving some advice about how to handle that. But today, my guest is actually still an essential worker, and she has taken on a ton of responsibility in the financial world. So I'd like to welcome Manda Lewis today. Manda, hi.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Manda Lewis. I'm a partner of H&H Financial Group. I'm a certified financial planner. So I'm a financial advisor. I help clients in retirement planning and investment planning and basically help them gain control of their financial world and help them in every stage of their financial world, no matter what that stage is. So whether they're young and starting out or close to retirement, pre-retirees and retirees.
We are all definitely in a stage in the financial world right now, aren't we?
Yeah, most definitely. I think that a lot of people are definitely looking at their finances in a different way. Hopefully it's bringing some awareness that people need to be making to look at their budgeting and things of that nature. Whether they thought they were in a good financial position or not. Maybe looking at how they're spending money and making sure they have that emergency fund, because a lot of people don't. They thought that maybe they'd be okay because their job was safe, but this is completely new, and people that have safe jobs are suddenly finding themselves in a totally different position being at home. So
It is definitely new. And before we started recording, you mentioned that you've had to figure out a whole new way to be essential and work from home. Tell us more about what's been happening with you in your business and in your personal life during the COVID-19 pandemic.
yeah, so obviously the stock market isn't closed. So as a financial services business, we are considered essential. We actually, to protect our staff, which we have, oh gosh, I think it's 5 full-time staff, a couple part-time. We closed our office to clients coming in and any outside people coming in, so that our staff could still feel comfortable working in the office. So the advisors can come and go. And, I'm working from my home right now. I have a home office that I've had for quite a while. So I'm working primarily from home and just going into the office when I need to. But it's definitely a challenge for me because I'm used to being out on the road and seeing clients face to face and building that relationship with my clients, across from the kitchen table or my conference table in my office. And so changing things over to Zoom meetings and phone meetings and working for the most part back to back, having nonstop phone appointments and Zoom meetings. Whereas before, I might have what I called windshield time, where I was, in between appointments, I'm, behind the steering wheel heading to another appointment and allowing me to listen to my favorite, XM radio station or a podcast or a book, an audiobook. And I'm not getting to do that. So my life has changed quite a bit. So I'm very, very busy and I'm thankful for that, blessed for that. But it's definitely working long hours is challenging, to say the least. And then my husband and I are on opposite sleep schedules. He is a state trooper, so he is, of course, very much essential, and he is on a night schedule right now. And hopefully, fingers crossed, that the governor doesn't change anything. He has put in his retirement papers before all of this happened and will be retiring April 29th. So hopefully he will then be home much more frequently. So we'll see. He's going to try and get another job, but in any case, so we got the two of us working very, very crazy schedules right now.
Yeah, well, having him home, at least you'll know that he's safe. So
yeah, very much looking forward to that. I mean, I'm used to it. We've been together for so long, as you well know, and so it's, I know he does what he needs to protect himself in whatever the situation may be. And that's the military background and his police background. that I know he's fine, and he knows that he's got that attitude as well. But he finally made the decision to retire, and so hopefully he'll be able to at the end of this month. So looking forward to that. Yeah,
Well, we'll cross our fingers for that for sure. So you said that you're busy. Would you say that you're busier even though you're working from home right now?
Yeah, obviously the stock market, the volatility that we're having is keeping me on my toes. I try to joke about it, and my clients laugh as well, that we talk about it being a roller coaster ride and to buckle up. And if you get, if you're prone to motion sickness, then take some Dramamine. We try to make light of it, but it is serious. And my clients that are mostly pre-retirees and retirees, are certainly concerned, to say the least. Thankfully, I don't have too many that are panicking because they've worked with me long enough. I've been in the business 20 years, 15 years as a financial advisor. And so my clients that have been with me the longest in particular have a greater understanding of their long-term plan, because we've put a long-term plan in place for them. And so it's something that it's just a matter of hearing me and talk to them. And that's what they say all the time is, yeah, I just needed to hear you tell me again that everything's going to be okay. And, I go over their numbers with them. And, recently it's actually been something I'm hearing clients say, that I've actually gone over their numbers as to how much they're down from year end. And they've commented that, oh gosh, I'm not down as much as I thought I was going to be. And I tell clients all the time that, it's like we're in a hurricane, but you're not standing out in it. Your portfolio is going to move in the same direction that the market's moving, but it's not going to move at the same speed, so to speak, as what's going on with the market, because you're not invested the same. So it's maintaining a perspective. And I think that people that have a financial advisor, there's just proven statistics out there that those that have a financial advisor feel more confident in their retirement plan and where they are in their financial future because they've had a greater understanding and education from their financial planner. So I think that's certainly, I think, where my clients are coming from. So, but it was important to me to reach out to my clients that are pre-retirees and retirees. I started that a couple weeks ago when the market started to crash, that, I reached out to them. There was a particular Sunday that I spent close to 10 hours with no break of calling one client after another. And it was a couple dozen clients that I was able to get on the phone and have the conversations with. And I think they appreciated that, even on a Sunday, no less, of me reaching out to them. And so it's something that, again, it's keeping me very busy and in a different kind of way than I was before. I've always been a workaholic, as you know, Melanie, that I work crazy hours. Say again?
Takes one to know one.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So it's a different kind of busy, because it's adapting to this whole working from home and nothing but back-to-back meetings. And so it's I mentioned before, it's realizing that I've got to learn to take a breath, and realize that my shoulders start creeping up and I'm getting tension because I'm stressed and busy, and I've got to learn to relieve that stress in my own body so that it doesn't affect my own health.
So what does self-care mean to you, Amanda? When you say the word self-care, you said taking a breath, but what else does it mean at a deeper level?
Yeah, it's definitely a very good question. And I think that it's something that is very personal. I think it's a form of self-love and self-compassion that you have to have for yourself, that I think a lot of us, I think more so women and probably moms more than anyone. Now, I'm not a mom, but I think moms in particular, women in general, we tend to have a lot of self-care for those in our lives around us and the our children and our spouses, our significant others, and we're always taking care of other people, and we may not take care of ourselves as much. And it's taking that time to realize that, hey, we've got to take time for ourselves too, and whatever that may be, whatever form of self-care is going to help you bring peace to yourself and to relieve whatever stress that you might have. So for me, it's exercise. It was something, I think it's been close to 10 years now that I've been exercising from home. I'm fortunate to be able and feel very blessed to be able to have a home gym that I have built, and am able to have that self-discipline to be able to exercise from home. I know a lot of people that need the gym, that need the support of friends or a trainer to be able to go to a gym. And thankfully, I don't need that. I can throw my hair up in a ponytail and get on my workout clothes and go downstairs and exercise for an hour. And to me, that is a huge stress reliever. And endorphins are amazing little things.
They're real. They are real.
And, people look at exercise as, something that is, painful, and, they don't want to do it. But certainly it's difficult when you're first starting an exercise program. And I tell people, you got to find what works for you, even if it's something as simple as walking, going out and walking, or 30 minutes a day, kind of thing to bring the heart rate up. For me, it started out with Beachbody programs, which now there's commercials for, exercising at home, Beachbody. And that's, I'm not promoting them in particular, but it's just what worked for me, and it expanded from there. And I've learned that that's something that's important to me. And so at times I've literally had to shut my phone off and to go downstairs and exercise, to be able to keep that as part of my day, even though I'm very busy in my work life. It's so easy. It would be so easy for me to say, well, I'm busy. I've got too much to do. I'm just going to not exercise today. And to have that excuse. But I'm finding it hugely important during this time to not do that. And I've had to a few times. So my 6 days a week have become 4. but I'm still trying to keep that schedule and exercise. So that's something that's really important to me as far as my self-care. So
there's that old adage of you have to fill your own cup before you can help other people. And that's true in any world, in any business, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or you're an entrepreneur or you're working for a corporation, you still have to fill your own cup before you can help other people, especially when you're helping 10, 12 hours a day.
Yeah, I would agree. Mm-hmm. I think that, like I said, I think in general, women tend to, whether we're taking care of the house or taking care of our children, our loved ones, and then we fall into bed and get up and start it all over the next day, and we tend to forget about ourselves and taking care of ourselves. And I think it's something that we need to do. And certainly those that are home right now and not having to work, maybe they're able to do that more now and than they were before. And I hope that if they're able to do that, that they continue it beyond this time when the social distancing ends and we return to quote unquote normal, whatever that normal may be, that maybe the self-care becomes more of their normal. And so, so I think it's, again, self-compassion and finding what brings you joy in your life, whatever that may be. And it could be, that it's, like I said, and for me, exercising, but it could be finding time to get outside and do, gardening, if that's something that's a passion, or quilting, or whatever a hobby is that you might have, or just spending quiet time. My best friend, so she and I actually had an opportunity on Friday that we had a scheduled FaceTime that it was like, I had suggested, I said, we should so get on FaceTime and have a glass of wine. And, we set a time on Friday evening, and she actually got dressed up for it and hair and makeup, and I was in my comfy clothes. And I'm like, you should have told me. But she goes, it's okay. She goes, I just thought I would get ready as though we were going out together. Now she lives in North Carolina. But we each had wine, and we played an 80s trivia game, and then Taboo via FaceTime. And it was, I told her afterwards, I'm like, I so needed that. It was a little self-care, that glass of wine and laughter and just totally getting away from this discussion on what's going on in the world. And afterwards I had said, well, I've got to get going. And she goes, oh, you should go do something fun for yourself. And she had suggested something about watching a movie or TV or something. And I said, no, I'm going to go to sleep. And she goes, really? I'm like, that's very much what I want to do. For me, lack of sleep, I don't get enough sleep. So for me, self-care is sleep. So I have an extra hour. I would love to take an extra hour to sleep. So that to me is also self-care. It's a way to regenerate, that reboot, so to speak, I guess. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, we've known each other for a couple of years now, and I think that more normal than not, Manda only got 4 hours of sleep last night. So
5 hours is a good night.
6 hours is a good night. So I'm glad that you are taking the opportunity. I mean, I'm biased, but when I look at you, Manda, and I see the schedule that you keep, my workaholicism looks like, a couch potato compared to you.
Oh gosh, you shouldn't. Nobody should follow my schedule. Nobody should. Oh gosh, I would not, recommend my work schedule.
Yes, and then there's
I love
still
what I
time
do,
but there's still time to exercise in there too, which is pretty cool. And I loved that you brought up, like, now's, with it being so crazy, like there has to be this foundation that's created both now for something to hold on to when it comes to self-care, whether that's exercise or a hobby, so that when you do go through the next phase of getting back to whatever normal looks like, then you have that foundation. So you got another anchor to get into the next phase of all of this. So thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So when we think self-care, a lot of folks are like, well, that's the bubble bath, it's the glass of wine, it's the exercise, it's the yoga, it's the, it tends to be like taking care of our emotional selves, taking care of our physical bodies, taking care of our mindset so that we're staying positive. But very rarely is it brought up that finances are a part of self-care. I'm wondering if you could just expand a little bit on how somebody can get started in creating a financial self-care plan if they're not already working with a financial advisor.
Oh, that's a great question. You would not clue me in on that one, by the way. So certainly finding a financial advisor, I think, is extremely helpful. And people think, well, I can't afford one. And I will say this, as far as what I do, I do offer fee-based financial planning in addition to investment planning, where I get compensated through the different investment companies we work with, which is how all financial advisors get compensated. But I also don't limit my net worth. And it's something that a lot of financial advisors, well, I'm not going to sit down with you unless you have $100,000 or $250,000. And there's a few in the area that do that, and that's certainly their choice. When I started in this industry, I was an art major, believe it or not, from my elementary days up and through my second semester in college. And then I became an accounting major. And it really, because I wasn't a finance major, I didn't take any finance classes and I didn't understand the financial world. And I worked for a local company here. I did accounts receivable. And then when I ended up leaving that job, they had told me I could roll over the 401k that I had to an IRA. And I looked at them like they had three heads. I had no idea what they were talking about. So I understand the lack of knowledge, the lack of education in our colleges, unless you're in the financial field, the finance educational field. And so I appreciate that, and I want to be able to provide that education to people that need it. So I'm more than happy to talk to people that need that guidance, whether it's one-on-one or something like this. And so, I encourage people to seek out an advisor, even if it's not me. I'm not promoting myself by any means, but there's lots of online sources. But also, I think primarily it's gaining control. It's one of those things that I think that a lot of people feel when they can look at their own financial world and go through their own finances. It's gaining a better understanding of their financial world and gaining that control that gives them that peace of mind of, hey, I understand this more and I have a path in place. I know what I should be doing. And so it's looking at the simplest things of the money coming in versus the money going out. So it's a budget, and it's quite often painful for most people because it's scary. It's like, oh my gosh, my money is going where? Putting that down on paper and being honest with yourself. You have heard this phrase that it's a kind of a joke that a client actually shared with me that she had said that she needed to get financially naked in front of me. and that, whether it's with a financial advisor yourself, if you expect and you want to gain that financial freedom, you need to be honest with both yourself and if you're working with a financial advisor. It's so hugely important. And, we can only put together a plan based on the information that's provided to us. So if you leave out any information, then it's not going to be the plan that you're looking for. And so it's that honesty, both again to yourself of, where's the money going that you're bringing in, and how best do you allocate the dollars that you are bringing in to be able to save more, to pay off debt, and to be able to retire when you want to, and not feel like, well, I can't retire until the day I die, which is something that I hear quite often. And so it's gaining that control, I think, is hugely important.
Mm-hmm. And now of all times, with folks that maybe have been laid off or they're temporarily shut down, if they're small business owners or anything, it's a great time now.
Mm-hmm.
Because going forward, it's going to be almost like a reset, reboot. So
Right.
now's the time to clean up the finances, to prioritize and say, maybe I'm spending money where I don't need to be, and to eliminate costs in your life. And then you have a better idea of what is important to keep and what is important to invest in, whether that's paying down debt or learning how to invest in, you mentioned IRAs and the stock markets and things like that moving forward, so that there is a better plan. We talk about now's the time to start an exercise plan because there's the time. Now's the time to start eating better because there's the time. You can cook meals for yourself at home, but really now's the time to clean up your finances so that you are better in your money moving forward as well.
You said it perfectly. Absolutely. And I think that, it's sitting down, if you've got a spouse or a significant other and you combine finances, or you're single, whatever the case may be, is looking at those finances and looking at where the dollars are coming in and where they're going and where best to allocate things. And, some people are being forced to do so anyway, because, the income isn't coming in.
Yeah.
They're non-essential, and, they've had this delay in income because of applying for unemployment or any kind of the assistance. And of course the checks are supposed to be coming, but they haven't yet. So people are kind of in this limbo right now of, oh my goodness, and so they're probably having to look at their finances and look at, how are they going to pay the bills that are immediately coming up and things like that. So it's a perfect time to kind of get a grasp of all of their finances and, seeing what's, what is extremely important, of what needs to be paid, and then budgeting the dollars that are coming in, and then looking at, okay, when things return to where they're working again and getting a normal paycheck, moving forward with more of a firm financial and retirement plan.
Yes. I like that there's a certain security that is provided in just knowing where your money is at. I worked with you a couple of years ago, so I had to do that. I had to get naked with Manda. and really take a
Normally I'm the one getting naked with you on the
totally different types of naked, but massage therapy, people.
Yes. So we have me getting naked for massage therapy, and then you getting naked for financial therapy.
But getting naked and really taking a look at things and looking at what it's going to be 35 years from now. I mean, it's a really hard realization to say, wow, I've spent some of my life maybe not doing all the best that I could be doing, making the best decisions with my finances. And then the security that's on the other side of that, and having that plan and having that emergency fund, having that, okay, I'm setting some aside. And by the way, I have not looked at the stock market at all. I haven't looked at my account with you at all, done any of that because I don't want to know, but because that would be getting naked again.
Yeah, right.
But there is an element of security in having a plan moving forward, even if it feels so chaotic and detrimental right now. Sitting down and working with numbers, working with a spreadsheet, working with somebody helping you, for me, offers a bit of security no matter what happens. So even though I'm not making money right now, I'm having to go through that unemployment process. I'm having to wonder about this grant or wonder about the EILD loan advance out there. I'm wondering about all of these things. But yet I know that my little spreadsheet that Manda helped me is going to stay on track. I just have to shift some numbers around.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah, we're kind of in. No, well, you're very welcome. And it's sometimes it's an ever evolving plan. You know, I always tell clients that all the time when we put a plan together, I can only guarantee it's only going to be accurate today because things will change. Well, here's a perfect example of how things can change. And so it's something that it's constantly needing to be monitored and reviewed and updated. And this is kind of a unique situation where people are having to make a finite decision of, you know, finances just in this moment, but still maintaining that long-term perspective of, you know, down the road for retirement purposes. And then, you know, you've got the people that are obviously just before retirement and, you know, worrying about, oh my gosh, can I retire? You know, if the market is crashing within a few years before retirement. And then those that just retired. And I actually have a Corning engineer that happened to retire on February 20th. I think that was his retirement date, was February 20th. And we had been going through everything, and he's a fairly new client. And but he had commented that he felt comfortable that despite the fact that the market was crashing, that he would be okay, because one of the things that we had done for him in his retirement plan was an extreme scenario of what if we went into a bear market, a down market, and right at retirement time. Little did we know that the very scenario of what we had run for him would happen for him. And the scenario was very significant, much more significant than what is actually going on. And, you know, he had done what he needed to for his retirement up until he met with us, that he was going to be fine. And now we're transitioning him into retirement and have set a plan in place for him to be able to enjoy his retirement, and now discussing how he might be able to leave a legacy to his family. But it's definitely, you know, an ever-changing world when all of a sudden, you know, values on accounts are dropping, and you know, it's in a constant, like I said, review and monitoring of those plans, no matter what stage of your life you're in. So,
yeah. And the word secure keeps coming up. So for you to have run scenarios with your clients, it means everything, because it's not all good. It's not always going to be all good news.
Well, not all rosy. Yeah. So we do that. We that's the holistic planning I do. People wonder, well, what is holistic planning? Well, it's looking at every aspect of somebody's financial world and doing these projections of, what is the retirement picture going to look like from now until retirement or then beyond, and then running these scenarios, whether it's, this bear market scenario, or what if they have a long-term care event in retirement where, that could affect their finances of obviously chewing through their investments that they've built. So we can run that scenario. And do we need to protect that? What if they decide to move? So we can run some fun scenarios of, well, what if you doubled your vacation fund for, retirement purposes? And, could your finances handle that? What if you decided you wanted to buy a second home? So some fun things too. It doesn't always have to be the negative side of things, but we look at both because we don't want our clients to be surprised. And so that's, the planning that we help our clients with. And it's, that's one of the fun things that I love about what I do, is that there's no two clients that are alike, and not everybody's scenarios are different. And so it's fun to be able to help clients in their planning, whatever that may be for them. So
awesome. And I'm one of those weird ones that the idea of looking at my bank account and seeing that I had an emergency fund for times just like this, I'm like, ooh, that's delightful. So we could talk about, extra vacations and things maybe in a couple of years, but
right. But yeah, again, it's a different stage of somebody's life, is looking at, okay, well, let's focus on, we've got to have that emergency fund. And before we move on to, can we go on a vacation? So it is prioritizing those things. And that's something that we work with all the time with clients, is prioritizing their goals. And there's maybe one priority over another that we most definitely need to focus on. But again, it's ever evolving. So as one goal is reached, then we move on to the next one. And it's definitely taking it a piece by piece, and not hopefully my clients don't feel overwhelmed. I definitely don't want my clients to feel overwhelmed, and I don't think they do. I think they feel more in control as to their financial future, and I have a plan in place, and that peace of mind of knowing that they've got that plan in place and they have direction. And even when a market crisis like this, is thrown their way, that yes, they may need to talk to me if they're close to retirement or in retirement, they know that they've got a plan in place, and to focus on that, not to make short-term decisions with long-term money. That's what we talk about all the time. So
yeah, it's really good advice. All right. So one of the questions that I've been asking everybody is, if you had a message for the entire world, for the global community right now, what would that message be?
I'm always a glass half full kind of girl. It made me think of something with my husband, is that he's a glass half empty. So between the two of us, we make a full cup. In any case, so I've always been a positive person, and so I think it's maintaining that positivity. It's maintaining hope and faith, no matter what your religious background is. That I don't think it matters. I think it's just having faith and knowing that we will come out of this no matter what, and it's knowing that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, even if you can't see it just yet. And to just to maintain that perspective, and then also to gratitude. I think that one of the things that I'm seeing is the immense amount of gratitude for the healthcare workers and our law enforcement, which is nice to see, especially with regards to the law enforcement as of late. But our healthcare workers, the gratitude for them and maintaining that for them. I think that if everybody can do that and appreciate them and do away with the negativity and that's all over social media with politics and whatnot, I think that let's maintain positivity and kindness. Kindness and positivity is contagious too. And I think
Definitely.
I think let's focus on that.
Yes. I saw a meme that says that humans, because of the negativity, humans are the virus. And
Yeah.
I love that you just said that kindness and compassion and gratitude, thankfulness, that those are all contagious as well. And maybe
Yeah.
even spreads a little faster. So
Yeah. I would like to hope so,
yeah.
as far as that goes. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, Manda, thank you so much for being on. If people want to get a hold of you and talk about, if they want to get naked with you, their finances, how do they get
Yeah.
hold of you? How can they reach you?
So certainly, probably our website is the easiest. So it's thehhfg.com for H&H Financial Group. Certainly, I'm all over social media and LinkedIn and all of that. So yeah, you can just Google me and you'll be able to find me.
Very good. Thank you again. I appreciate you
Thank
being
you for
on.
doing that.
And yeah, so we'll say goodbye for now. This was video number 14, and we do have another one coming up. So stay tuned for video number 15 tomorrow. See you then. Bye.